Morning. Welcome everyone to the May 7th, 2025 Boise Airport Commission meeting. This is the time and place for our monthly meeting. And I see there's a great attendance today. I think that's probably because John was in charge last month and sorry to disappoint, I'm back. Can we please have roll call?
Sure. Commissioner Boise. Not here. Commissioner Carlson.
Yes, here.
Commissioner Cunningham.
Here.
Professor Radloff.
Here.
Commissioner General Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Vasconcelos.
Here.
Commissioner Westerberg.
Here.
Commissioner Westergaard.
Here.
And Councilman Morales.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Well, how about that second item on the agenda is an introduction.
Yeah.
I'll turn it over to Director Hope.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. We have a new member of our airport commission. And I haven't actually even had a chance to meet you yet, but it would be fabulous. First, welcome. And we're excited to have you here and have your perspective as a student and youth commissioner. And would love to have you just share a few words about yourself.
Absolutely. So my name is Finnegan Kretzer-Radloff. I'm from Idaho, but going to school here for a good 2 years and flying almost exclusively out of Boise Airport for another 5 years. I'm very excited to be here. I'd like to thank anyone who helped me gain this appointment, and I'm looking forward to serving for the next about 10 months here.
Okay, moving on to our third item on the agenda, it's approval of minutes. Are there any corrections from that?
Madam Chair, having read the minutes and believe they're semi-accurate, I would approve their move.
Second.
On favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving right along, we have no unfinished business, so we'll go right into Director Hub's report.
All right, thank you so much. Well, the first thing that we're going to talk about this morning is our concession update. As you know, we issued the request for proposal and awarded new contracts in October. And so we have a number of projects going on in the airport. If you walk through the terminal right now, there is drywall everywhere. I won't read these to you, but we do have a couple of exciting things that are happening. The depot opened, the Boise depot, that's the one that's on the lower C concourse. And then we're expecting Sawtooth Essentials will open very shortly. The other ones will follow hopefully quickly behind that, but the goal is to have all of the concessions open by October. Also exciting news, we just opened this week our new family restrooms. You may remember we received a federal grant for family restrooms that was about $1 million. We added 3 restrooms that include, one of them includes an adult changing table, which is something that we've had a request for. So this is really important for us in terms of making the airport more accessible for everyone, but also it gives us a little bit of flexibility if our team needs to go in and clean a restroom at a busy time. There's still other alternatives for people. So our work on the consolidated rental car project continues to move along. Level 6 is complete. So first one ready to go. We have the steel structure for the terminal connector complete. That's the walkway between the terminal and the new rental facility. And then the framing of the customer service building is complete as well. So this continues to move forward. We are expecting to reach the highest point of the car rental facility in June. So it's exciting to see that come to fruition. There are lots of words on this slide and lots for you to read. I will not read it for you, but we are continuing to move forward with the concourse development, and we will at some point in the near future have information that we can share with the commission. This is a big project that requires a lot of thought and planning. So Fentress is who we're using as our architect, and we are working on the passenger boarding bridges The bids were due on that on the 30th, so we have 2 responsive bids. It was about $12.5 million. Grants will cover $9 million of that, so we're really excited about that. We're gonna start we've started the conceptual design, and then we'll start schematic design here coming up this summer. And then Jacobs is our project management. They're our advisor and owner's rep. They're going to be giving us support on schedule, budget, and they're also helping us with the interviews that we'll be doing next week for the construction manager at risk. As you may remember, I shared last month at commission that we had 7 proposers. We'll be doing 4 interviews next week. Those will be day-long events. They're intense by design. I did see one proposer in passing and he said, when I saw the format, I hated it and now I love it. So I said, that's great. Don't talk to me about it. But I think the point is that we are doing a very thorough process, and it is intense by design because it is a very large project, and we want to make sure that we get it right and that we have the right partners to help us with that. So we'll be doing, once we get through the interviews, we'll be doing contract negotiations in June and July. And then hopefully in August, we'll have the construction manager at risk on board so they can help us with the pre-construction and design piece. We are in construction season on the airfield. One of the first projects that we're working on is the East De-ice apron expansion. We started this at the end of April. It will be completed in September. And this allows us to have additional spots for aircraft de-icing. In the winter, de-icing is a pinch point for us. And so we're always trying to identify where do we have congestion and how do we relieve it. So this is part of that. Concourse A apron. This is one of the first projects related to the new concourse expansion. You may remember we talked about this project before. It's adjacent to where the future Concourse A will go. It will provide us 3 parking spaces for aircraft to park overnight. So we're building in capacity before we can even get the terminal done. So again, thinking about those points of congestion and where we need additional capacity and finding ways to solve that. So, and then we are also building a general aviation access road. This is over on the east side of the airfield, and it's going to provide construction to future private hangars. We have 3 tenants that are putting in hangars there for private corporate hangars. The work on that began in April, and we'll have it completed by June. We also are upgrading our vehicle gates and our snow fencing. This is just routine maintenance, but it's important for our security. That began in April, and we'll have it completed in May, and the vehicle gates will be done in early July. And then the master plan update. So we're really excited about this, and there will be an important role for Airport Commission in this project. This will be what helps guide us for development over the next 20 years and beyond. As you may recall, we updated our last master plan in 2019. And I often joke that that 20-year plan became our 5-year work plan because most of the projects that were identified in that are either already complete or in process and planning. But this will help us to identify some of the finer points and the additional things that go along with adding a concourse, like where do we put the utilities and where do we put ground transportation, some of those other things that are important, but were not considered in the last master plan. So we're looking forward to that. There will be roles for different stakeholder groups. And if those of you who were on the commission last time, you may remember that process, but there are different stakeholder groups. So we'll have a group focused on general aviation. We'll have a group focused with rental cars. We'll have a group that's focused on airlines. We'll have a group that's focused on community. So there'll be all different opportunities for people to participate. And this is somewhat new, so I wanted to highlight it for the commission. We will be issuing a request for proposals for aeronautical development. And I think we've talked about before how we have substantial demand for aeronautical development. Several years ago, we had multiple options for if someone wanted to develop property on the airport, whether it be for T hangars or for corporate hangars or a maintenance facility. We had options and we could do a direct negotiation. We are at the point where our access to the airfield is limited. And so rather than just anytime anyone comes to us and says, oh, I want this parcel, we say, okay, we're going to actually do a negotiation. But the other system worked well when we had enough to accommodate demand, but we're reaching the point where we have more demand than we have resources. And so the best way to address that is through an RFP. And so we will be putting together a request for proposals. It'll be very similar to the way we did the request for proposals for the non-aeronautical land development, where we ask for someone who wants to develop a parcel, we'll ask about what they want to put on it. There'll be some minimums, but it will be a competitive process, and we will select the proposal that best meets the needs of the airport. I do see a question that I would.
Where's those two sites?
So those two sites you can see here, they are on the far southeast side of the airfield. So those sites are east of the new ITD hangar. So there's a taxiway that goes out. It's almost by Production Road. Those of you who are familiar with Gowan and Production. So they're on the far eastern side, on the south side of the runway. So on the guard side, but further east.
Down below the Sky West hangar.
Down below the Sky West hangar, yes. There's 2 parcels there. There's 5.5 acres. And our intent is to build those out to the maximum capacity. And we will see if we have successful proposers. And if we do, that will be great. And if not, then we'll know that that's not the right time for that. But that's the process that we're intending to use. So I wanted to make sure that we highlighted that for you. I think we're getting ready to do the release in early June. So that'll be coming out in June. So we'll have some information for commission probably, I'm guessing, by our August meeting, because we don't meet in July. And in April, we also launched the Hidden Disabilities Program. We may have talked to you about this before. It's called the Sunflower Program. Not every disability is readily visible, and this is a discreet way to highlight people who maybe need some extra help. And so we kicked that off in April. So far, the response has been incredibly positive. And we have a couple of promotions. Anna was promoted to our maintenance mechanic lead, and Andre has been promoted to a maintenance supervisor. So we're really excited to have great employees who we can promote internally and who have a career path and progression at the airport. And then it's worth noting that I will be chair of our National Trade Association beginning in June. So I will not be at our June meeting. If you're wondering where I am, I will be in Atlanta taking over as chair for the American Association of Airport Executives. It's a volunteer position, so it will be in addition to, above and beyond all the things that we're doing here. So. I'm really excited about it. It's a huge honor for me, so thank you for that. And then I want to highlight the hard work of our team as well. We have every year we have a Federal Aviation Administration inspection, and it's a very intense 3-day process. They literally come out and check to make sure that every bolt is tightened correctly on our airfield lighting. I mean, it's intense. They look at all of our records, they pull out a tape measure and make sure that we don't have any lips along the runway that are greater than what's allowed by regulation. They do an inspection of our fire training facility and our firefighters, our fueling facility. So it is a huge effort on the part of our team and also our partners at fire and also at our FBOs who operate fueling operations here in Boise. And we had what we call a discrepancy-free investigation, meaning that they were here for 3 days, went through every single little thing and didn't find anything. So it's really a huge credit to our team and the people who are here working not only in prep for the inspection, but every single day, because they go back and they look at your maintenance records to determine, you know, did you just cram for the test and spiff it all up ahead of time, or did you really throughout the year maintain best practices? And so our team has done an outstanding job. And then today's the day that we've all been waiting for the last 20 years, Real ID. And I would say it appears today we do have contingency plans in place for if things went sideways. But it does appear that operations this morning have been going smoothly with the rollout of Real ID. We've been working very closely with TSA and our law enforcement partners here to make sure that we have contingency plans in place. So hopefully you have your Real ID, the star card. Oh, was there a question?
What contingencies? I mean, what's the alternative if someone doesn't have a star card now?
So there is a separate screening process. And so we actually have divided our checkpoint into different lanes for, instead of having just pre-check, clear, and regular. Now we have clear, pre-check, verified Real ID, not verified Real ID. And then if you're not verified as a Real ID, then you go through a separate screening process. But it's really about queuing and getting as many passengers through as we can. And then passengers who require additional screening, having additional staff on hand, TSA having additional staff, so that way they can get people through. But at this point, it seems to be going smoothly in Boise. I don't know that that's the case everywhere. I'm sure I'll hear more about it later today from my colleagues.
Just to follow up on what's difference between verified and unverified Real ID?
So the Real ID, you have a star on your license, and you have to show additional documentation at the time that you get your license. And I believe, and it's all available online, so you should research it and not take my word for it. But you need to show proof of residency in the state of Idaho. So you would need to have a utility bill that has your name on it, something that's been mailed to your address that has your name on it. Other forms of ID that count include a passport or a military ID. If you have another government ID, like if you worked for the FBI or something, another federal ID would work as well.
So unverified means you got a new star ID, but you didn't make it verified, right?
So if you have an ID that's not verified, it does not have a star on it. So it means you have the type of license that they were issuing pre-2005, before we required that additional documentation. That's what it means. So you have to show, for example, a social security card, a birth certificate, again, the piece of mail that has your address on it. So you have to show that you are who you are and that you live where you say that you live. So I think those are the two components. All of the information is available online. If you have a passport, you're set. If you have another form of government ID, you are likely set as well. Many people have the star card, but okay. More good news. Frontier Airlines is returning to the Boise market on May 15th. We're excited to welcome them back. They will be going to Denver 3 times a week, and this will bring our airlines up to 10 at the Boise Airport. We also wanted to share with the commission, this is the time of year where we are thinking about budget, and we always send forward to public hearing adjustments to rates and charges. And we will be proposing an increase to the fuel flowage fee. We have not increased it since 2007, so 18 years. So we will be increasing it 3 cents a gallon to better align with our peer airports. We've done a survey. This is in line with what other airports are seeing. And then also we're adjusting our parking fees, again, to help us differentiate between the different parking products that we offer. We are still seeing substantial demand in our parking facilities, which is fantastic. However, we need to get people using some of the different parking options during peak time, so we're adjusting our parking rates as well. Those will go to city council. And that will be for fiscal year 2026. Also want to highlight some updates on our non-aeronautical property development. As you may recall, this is for the property that we have primarily off of Victory Road. We have 5 ground leases now with Adler Industrial. They are our master developer. We have 380,000 square feet of building space, 30 acres of leased land. They're building another 88,000 square foot building on 6 acres. And then coming soon, there will be another building that'll be 84,000 on 5.5 acres that will accommodate up to 6 tenants. And as you may recall, the way this works is they do all of the investment in infrastructure, all of the leasing, and we get a percentage of the rent. And we've been very pleased with the way that this has been working. They have very clear milestones for the amount of property that they need to develop to continue to have that master developer status. And then lastly, this probably isn't the last thing, but interesting to note that we are seeing a 9% increase in passengers year to date. I see Commissioner Carlson shaking her head, and we feel that some days. And 9% is substantial. So we're up 9% year to date. In 2025, March was up 11% compared to last year. And you can see we have seen steady increases for the last, obviously 2021 was a slow year, but for every year we have seen, except for the COVID years, we've seen increasing traffic. So I think we're up over 20% since 2019, which was our highest year pre-COVID. These are operating revenues and expenses. I don't think that there's anything too substantial to call out here. Operating revenue is up 12%, which is fantastic. The terminal rent is up, and our airline landing fees are up again because of the way that we renegotiated our contracts with the airlines. And then the ride share, which is the Uber Lyft, those are up because of increased activity, but also because we increased the rate that we were charging them. So those things are up. As you can imagine, the professional services is up because of the substantial work that we're doing on our new concourse development project. Indirect cost is up because of a calculation that was determined at the end of the year for city services. Everything else is pretty much in line. Chemicals is down because we only buy chemicals if we need them. We had a light snow year, and so we were not using the same amount of chemicals, and we had chemicals on hand. So those are probably the most significant things. And that concludes my report, Madam Chair. I would be happy to answer questions.
Why are concessions down for revenue? Is that because of the remodels that are happening?
Thank you for asking. I did not mention that one. Concessions are down because at the end of every year, we do what we call a true up. And we actually had to do a true up with our retail concessionaire. So they had overpaid during the course of the year last year. And so then there was an offsetting reimbursement this year. And I'm sure, to your point, I'm sure we will see a decrease probably in concession revenue moving forward because everything's closed. Not everything's closed, but so much of our so many of our concessions are closed for construction. That will certainly impact sales going forward, but I don't think that was the primary driver this particular time. But it will be next time.
Questions for Mr. Huff? Thank you. That was a great report with a lot of good information. Commissioner Vasconcellos, do you have any comments?
Well, I'd just like to congratulate Rebecca for being elected to head up that organization. That's a real honor. And also for going through that FAA inspection without any discrepancies seems hard to believe. So, I mean, because they always want to find
They
something.
find something, absolutely.
Yeah, so congrats.
Thank you. I thought just for interest, I would share a little experience with the Star Card recently. Because I no longer have an airplane, my wife and I are planning to do some traveling this summer. Figured we probably would need to use the airlines. It might be worth our time to get a TSA pre-check. So I called my friend Amy Snyder and I said, how do I do that? Amy sent me a website. So we went to the website, filled out all the questions, made an appointment with TSA out here to come out Sunday to get our pre-check. And in the information we filled out, it indicated that we had to have a verified form of identification. Both my wife and I have the STAR card, so we figure we're in good shape. Check in with pre-check out here, and guess what? Even though you've got to have a STAR card to get on an airplane tomorrow, they would not accept the STAR card as verification of who we were. We had to go home and get a passport. So I just thought I would share that. You know, some people get confused from time to time about conflicting information from the government. That was one. So maybe they changed their mind. STAR card is now good to say who you are, but yes, Sunday it wasn't good enough to let us get a pre-check. Anyway, sorry about that. Before I get that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Happy to be back with you. Last month I was on a beach in Oahu, thinking of you, of course, but it was lovely. No issues with my travel. Congratulations. Passing that audit is an indicator of operational excellence and a superior evaluation. So my heartfelt congratulations, because that is no easy task. That's a big lift. I wanted to let everybody know that I have agreed to represent the airport on the public art project. There are two projects that are in final selection phase for first the rental car facility and then for a wall by the new restroom. And the selection panel, I am the representative of the airport. There are other representatives from art and history and community leaders. And the orientation for that selection process kicked off on Monday this week. So I just want to let you know I'm doing my best. And if you hate what we pick, I don't want to hear about it. Because I'm only one voice, right? But I will do my best to bring my art interest to the table. Also, I wanted to formally welcome Finnegan. It's always great to have a student representative who's aspiring and building a career in aviation. So we're happy to have you here.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Yes, welcome, Finnegan. Super excited to have you here. Do you have any comments today?
I just wanted to tack on my congratulations for the 139 inspection. I know just from talking with a couple of guys who work at ops and even a couple short conversations with controllers over the radio, just how stressed everyone was over that. And to finish that with no discrepancies, that's very impressive. But congratulations.
Surprisingly, I don't think I have any comments today, other than I just wanted to clarify that Finnegan is a Boise State student, so that makes it even more exciting. Although we appreciate your reside at home here as well, especially the Wi-Fi. Thank you.
I should have a couple of things. Last month I was in DC for US travel. We were doing some advocacy around travel. You know, the next 10 years is going to be a mega decade of events coming in with the World Cup and the Olympics. And there's just some things across the country that every destination flew in. There were 400 representatives that were meeting with their senators and congressmen in their offices to talk about those issues. So thank you, John, for taking the lead. I'm glad you guys welcomed me back this month because I know you did a stellar job. And then I've been to Chicago and Portland, all very smooth trips. And I just wanted to congratulate the promotions. Always love seeing those, promoting from within. And then congratulate Rebecca. That's a huge accomplishment. It definitely puts Boise on the map even more, having to do with that national level. Congrats. And then the only last thing on a personal note, next month, I will have a new name. So Carrie Hughes, I'm getting married at the end of the month. So to tell you that I'll probably be Westergaard Hughes for a while because my whole career I've been Westergaard, so we'll ease into it. With that, I will go to the next item on agenda, which is questions and comments. For the general public, for the commission and airport staff, you have discussion per issue not to exceed 5 minutes. And meeting time constraints or requests for final action may require deferral for a future meeting. With that, are there any comments or questions for the commission or the staff? Okay, hearing none. I have a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you. And I guess there's a reception.